Chapter 9. Resistance and Validation. The SkyPath boardroom was silent except for the faint ticking of the antique clock above the door. Its rhythmic clicks felt more like a countdown than a measure of time, underscoring the thick tension in the air. The late afternoon light seeped through narrow blinds, casting angular shadows across the long mahogany table where the board members sat, their expressions a mix of skepticism and impatience. Hailey Levens sat at the far end, her tablet open but untouched. In front of her, spreadsheets and reports detailed the measurable improvements Kirsten's work had brought to SkyPath over the past month. Tighter timelines, better communication between departments, and the innovative biofuel solution accelerating production. Yet none of that progress seemed to fully pacify the uneasy faces staring back at her. "We've given this global orchestration coordinator enough time, Hailey," Frank Walters, the COO, began, his voice even but clipped. "And while I'll admit we've seen some improvements, I still don't understand how any of this is happening. What exactly are we paying her to do? She's not fixing machines or redesigning processes, so what is it?" Hailey drew in a deep breath, steadying herself. She had known this moment would come. Frank had been wary of Kirsten's unconventional methods from the start, and his doubts grew louder when he saw results he couldn't quantify in the ways he understood. "She's doing exactly what she was brought in to do," Hailey said firmly, "and the numbers speak for themselves." Frank's brow furrowed. "Numbers don't explain it. Are you telling me the engineers suddenly found a right solution because of better alignment? That's not a strategy. That's a buzzword." A murmur of agreement passed around the table. Hailey's gaze darted to Manny Duncan, who sat quietly at the head of the table, hands folded. He observed the exchange, letting her take the lead. Still, Hailey could sense the unspoken message. This is yours to defend. She leaned forward slightly, her voice calm, but carrying a new edge. "Let me ask you this, Frank. Do you think the breakthroughs happened accidentally? That Maurice Carter's team, who'd been spinning their wheels for months, suddenly woke up and decided to collaborate because the air felt different?" Frank hesitated, his silence speaking volumes. "What Kirsten has done," Hailey continued, "is work at the level you can't see. She didn't give Maurice's team the solution. She created the conditions for it to emerge. She addressed the invisible breach in this company, trust, intent, communication, so that our people could perform the way we've always known they could." "That sounds nice," another board member interjected, skepticism etched into her tone, "but it's still vague. We're talking about energy and intention when we should be talking about metrics." Hailey pushed back her chair slightly, standing now, her confidence swelling. "Then let's talk metrics," she said. "Production delays have been cut by 40% since Dr. Anderson began. Collaboration between R&D and engineering is measurably up, as seen in reduced recalibration time for the injection systems. Employee morale has improved. The numbers from the HR surveys are right in front of you. And our investor calls?" She looked around the room. "For the first time in over a year, they're starting to sound like believers again." The COO leaned back in his chair, arms crossed. "So what's the catch, Hailey? You're telling me this woman just realigns energy and everything magically works out?" "No," Hailey replied evenly. "There's nothing magical about it. Kirsten works with the most fundamental forces that drive success. The human dynamics we all pretend don't matter as much as numbers on a page. What she does is give people the clarity and cohesion to succeed, but the work, the real work, is still ours." A long pause settled over the room. Hailey's words resonated in the stillness. Finally, Manny spoke, his voice decisive. "The progress we've seen is undeniable. I've walked that production floor myself. I've seen what happens when systems align, not just processes, but people." He paused, his gaze sweeping across the board. "SkyPath was out of sync. Kirsten helped us find the rhythm again. You can see it in the reports and feel it in the results." Frank shifted his earlier resistance, tempered slightly. So what are you saying? That we should keep her on? We brought Dr. Anderson in because we knew conventional solutions weren't working. She's delivered measurable outcomes, such as a 40% reduction in production delays, improved collaboration between R&D and engineering, and a significant boost in employee morale as seen in the HR surveys, just as Hailey said. If we want to sustain this momentum, we must commit fully. This isn't about a quick fix. It's about a transformation. Hailey looked at Frank, then around the table. Kirsten isn't the catch, she said quietly. She's the catalyst, but only if we let her finish the work. The vote wasn't unanimous, but it didn't need to be. By the end of the meeting, the board had reached a consensus to fully support Kirsten's continued role at SkyPath. Hailey walked out of the boardroom with Manny beside her, the tension that had weighed on her shoulders beginning to lift, the impact of their decision reverberating in the air. Nicely done, Manny said with a slight nod. I knew you'd convince them. Hailey exhaled, following a faint smile. I wasn't sure for a minute there. Manny paused, looking through the glass windows at the production facility below. The truth always speaks for itself, even to people who don't want to hear it. Hailey nodded, her gaze following his, and the truth is, Kirsten's given us more than alignment. She's given us a way forward. Far below, the hum of the production floor echoed that sentiment. For the first time, there was a sense of cohesion, of focus. The transformation had begun to validate itself, a significant moment in the history of SkyPath. And this time, even the skeptics had to pay attention.